Filfo Creativity for Your Ideas with Google Workspace 29 by Harminder Singh with R&D Team of Proposed EK Gurmukhi World R&D University. Filfo Creativity for Your Ideas with Google Workspace 29. Well, it is YouTube Research Video Part 29 with thanks to NotebookLM, where these sources introduce the Happy Peace Day Project, a research-based play and educational framework designed to foster global harmony and creative thinking in children. Central to this work is the hypothesis of Philselfology, a multidisciplinary system that integrates natural philosophy, scouting, and ancient wisdom to address modern societal issues. The texts propose a new Happy Earth Day model, which uses scientific and astrological concepts to analyze the planet's geographical and energetic balance. This model specifically warns of a potential 2025 polar vortex collapse, suggesting that environmental shifts may necessitate a massive human migration to the southern hemisphere. Furthermore, the author connects these theories to international patent systems and universal anthems to promote a unified, sustainable future for humanity. Through these diverse lenses, the collection advocates for a global family structure rooted in spiritual and scientific synergy. Thanks. Filfo Creativity for Your Ideas with Google Workspace 29 showing the Filfo Green Earth model of Happy Peace Day model. Thanks.
Okay, so what if I told you that a source is predicting a series of global crises, something even worse than a world war, and it's all supposed to kick off in 2025? And get this, the solution it proposes isn't just about more technology, it's about a whole new philosophy that mixes ancient wisdom with, believe it or not, particle physics. That is exactly what our source material is claiming. So let's dive in and see what it's all about. All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First up, we'll look at the super serious warning for 2025. Then, we're going to dive into this pretty unique philosophy that's behind the whole solution. It's called Philselfology. After that, we'll check out the real-world applications, this idea of a neutrino city and a totally new way to harness cosmic energy. And to wrap it all up, we'll see how all these pieces are supposed to create a new, happy Earth. Okay, so let's get right into it, starting with the problem itself. And I gotta say, the source material does not hold back. It paints a pretty grim picture for our very near future. And the central claim is, well, it's staggering. We're not talking about another world war here. The source is pointing to a massive, fundamental shift in our environment. It's literally talking about a potential mini ice age kicking off in the northern hemisphere and threatening, well, the entire planet. So according to the source, the starting gun goes off in the winter of 2025. That's when it predicts a collapse of the North Pole's polar vortex. Now, this is a huge deal. It's supposed to cause massive problems for farming and just about all production in North America, Europe, and Russia. So much so that it could trigger huge migrations of people from the north to the south. But wait, there's more. The timeline also includes a predicted mega earthquake in the Himalayas and a nearly 2-decade-long period where apparently the Earth's supply of neutrinos from space gets hindered. And this is where things get, well, really interesting. Because right alongside the atmospheric science stuff, the source brings in traditional astrology. It claims that Pluto's specific alignment in Capricorn is going to interfere with cosmic energy. And it even links this alignment to triggering earthquakes, specifically around midday local time. It's a fascinating mix of ideas, for sure. So, you've got this massive, multi-layered crisis on the horizon. How on earth does the source propose we solve it? Well, the entire solution is built on a very unique philosophical framework. So let's switch gears and take a look at this completely new way of thinking. Okay, so at the very core of this whole thing is a concept called Philselfology. It's presented as a kind of bridge, connecting science and religion. The central idea revolves around the self, which is then connected to something called cymatics. Now, cymatics is basically the study of how sound and vibration can create visible patterns. If you've ever seen sand form intricate shapes on a speaker or even just ripples in a pond, that's cymatics in action. And at the heart of this philosophy, there's this recurring equation. It looks like this: E equals O plus IA. This little formula pops up again and again in the source material, and it's used as a way to understand and, more importantly, balance out opposing forces. So, how does this actually work in practice? Well, the O stands for something objective or stable, and the IA is the subjective or variable part. And the source applies this concept to, well, pretty much everything. For instance, with animal behavior, drinking water is objective. There's no fighting over it. But food? That's subjective, and that's where conflict happens. It's applied to medicine, balancing out different types of remedies. It's even applied to color theory, harmonizing the energy of yellow with the energy of blue. The whole point of the equation is to find that sweet spot, that perfect balance point between two opposites. But why do we even need a new framework like this? Well, the source argues that we're living in what it calls a dark age of science. And it's not because we don't have enough knowledge. It's because we've become so reliant on technology that we're vulnerable. I mean, think about it. It makes the point that when the power goes out, all our amazing tech is useless, and our dependence on it becomes a kind of illiteracy. This philosophy, it suggests, is the literacy we need for when technology fails. Okay, that all leads us to the million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you take a philosophy about vibrations and balancing equations and actually use it to solve a global crisis, like a mini ice age? Well, according to the source, the answer starts with completely rethinking how and where we live. And it's all built around this concept called the neutrino city. So, what in the world is a neutrino city? Well, imagine a city that's not just built on the ground, but is designed from the start to work with the flow of cosmic particles. The whole idea is to build in harmony with these invisible energies that are all around us, with a special focus on neutrinos.
And the specific details of this are pretty fascinating. The source proposes building these cities in very specific ancestral regions of Punjab, India, chosen for their deep, sacred history. And they're meant to be woven right into nature. Lots of trees, jungles, wildlife. And this isn't just about making them look nice. According to the source, the trees themselves act as natural neutrino detectors, and water actually allows neutrinos to travel, get this, faster than light. So these natural elements aren't just scenery, they're critical infrastructure.
Right, so this leads us to the core mechanic of the whole thing. A neutrino city is basically supposed to be an engine that can harness cosmic energy. But how exactly is that supposed to work? Well, the source lays out a 4-step process. Step 1, you observe. You use astronomical models, even ancient ones like the zodiac wheel, to figure out the flow of cosmic energies. Step 2, you detect, and you do that using the natural world, those trees and water we just mentioned. Step 3 is to harmonize. This is where cymatics, the science of vibration, comes back in. Use it to manage the energy, to get it into a useful state. And finally, step 4, you channel that energy using some pretty advanced materials like 2D graphene and something called 2D lignin, which you get from plants. And you guessed it, there is another equation for this process. This time, it's E equals mc plus imv. The source presents this as a kind of update to Einstein's famous formula, and it claims this new version describes the change in momentum of neutrinos, which is supposedly the secret to creating something it calls 5D energy. You know, the really crucial thing to understand here is that this isn't just about generating power for a city. This philosophy is meant to apply to everything. This claim here suggests that without understanding vibration, without cymatics, even things like our modern medicines could stop working. It's a totally holistic system where things like resonance and harmony are absolutely key. Okay, so we've gone from the city level, and now the source zooms way out for its final piece of the puzzle, a completely redesigned ecological model for the entire planet. It calls this the Happy Earth model. The big idea here is to create ecological balance by identifying what the source calls opposite pairs in the northern and southern hemispheres. For example, it pairs a region like Punjab in India with South and Western Australia. It even pairs Oregon in the US with British Columbia up in Canada. The thinking is that by understanding these complementary pairings, we can better manage the planet's natural heating and cooling cycles. So the ultimate goal is to balance the 3 major continents in the north against the 3 in the south, creating one big, sustainable global system. It even talks about pairing entire mountain ranges with their opposition pair on another continent. And interestingly, the source claims this isn't a brand new idea. It says versions of this model were actually sent to governments back in 1989 and 90 as part of flood prevention reports. And there you have it. That's our journey through this pretty incredible source material. We started with a really dire warning about a 2025 mini ice age, and we ended up with a solution based on philosophy, cosmic particles, and global ecological harmony. It really does leave you with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? What if the solutions to our biggest, most complex problems aren't just technological, but philosophical?
Philfo creativity for your ideas with Google Workspace 7.
Thanks for your precious time.